With everything measured, it's time for us to get mixing. This may seem like a straightforward activity for us, but there are a few critical things we'll need to keep in mind when mixing silicone. Let's go over the 5 mixing guidelines and get ourselves ready for our next step. The first mixing guideline is to start slow. Regardless of what mixing tool we're using, starting slow will give us a feel for the thickness of our material and a good gauge for what to expect. If we start too quickly, we may immediately spill material, throwing off our mixture. Once we have a good gauge for how our silicone will come together, we can pick a faster speed that we're more comfortable with. Our second guideline involves proper mixing style. We may be tempted to mix using only concentric circles, but this won't get us a uniform mixture. We'll need to use that style along with the figure 8 motion and a folding motion in order to ensure everything is properly combined. No mixing style on its own will give us an ideal result. We need a combination of these 3 in order to get a good mixture. Our third guideline is to scrape the sides and the bottom of our container. Since silicone is a thicker material, it tends to stick to the sides and the bottom of whatever container we're using. If we don't scrape those surfaces, then we'll end up with a slightly off ratio mix, including material that will never cure. Once we feel good about any of the uncombined material in our bucket, we'll jump to our fourth guideline, doing the same thing to our mixing tool. For our stir stick, we'll scrape off the material, making sure to do so perpendicularly to our bucket to get everything possible. We'll add that in to ensure all of our silicone is now in our container, being mixed properly. Our fifth and final guideline for mixing is a final check for swirls of any uncombined material. This is a visual check to see if there's any streaks or color that aren't properly combined or any material we didn't quite get off the sides of our container. Doing this check is our final step before we move on to handling the air we've introduced in our material while mixing. It's important for us to be aware that the process of mixing introduces air into our silicone. This is something we'll need to account for and handle in a couple of ways.